What is happening, Colts fans? Welcome to today's episode of Colts Latest. I'm your host, Scott Reiman, coming to you from San Rafael, California, in the San Francisco Bay Area. Before we get into the atrocity that was Saturday's game against the Falcons, you know what I got to do. Got to give a huge shout out to FanArch. Without FanArch, none of this would be possible. Check out their website, fanarch.com. You're going to find so much awesome sports content on the NFL, MLB, NBA, and so much more. Make sure you check them out, fanarch.com. Also, huge thanks to our sponsor, Kalshi. Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. I'll be giving you my Kalshi Colts pick of the week later on in the show, so stay tuned for that. Finally, please do me a favor, like my videos on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple, and subscribe to the Colts Latest channel on YouTube. Let's hit that 1,000 subscriber mark before week 1 against the Ravens. Well, Saturday didn't go quite as we hoped or as how I expected. Perhaps the Colts are a little bit more top-heavy than I thought. Now, I will say that the practice squad guys saw a lot more snaps than I was expecting. A lot of the players out there aren't going to be on the active roster a week from now. But there were also plenty who will be, and that's worrisome. I mean, they just didn't show up, plain and simple. This was a beatdown in all 3 phases of the game. Now, that doesn't mean that there wasn't anything good to take away from this performance. In fact, today, I'm going to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly from Saturday's 34-6 beatdown to the Falcons. So let's start with the good. Now, calling anything good when you lose 34-6 is going to be a bit of a stretch, but there actually were some encouraging performances in this game, starting with the running backs. Now, with DJ Giddens and Ulysses Bentley IV both out with injuries, Seth McGowan played the entire first half and Anderson Castle took the entire second half. While the overall numbers for McGowan were modest, he looked good. He looked strong, keeping his legs moving, taking the runs outside when there was nothing inside, and also successfully picking up blitzes. In my mind, he only solidified his role as RB2 over the rest of the field right now. But does that mean that DJ Giddens is locked in at RB3? I don't think so. Now, he probably still has the edge, assuming he can get healthy this week, but man, Anderson Castle runs hard. If Giddens isn't ready by week 1, I think Castle has a chance to beat out Bentley for the RB3 job, and I think even if Giddens is healthy, there's going to be a competition for that last roster spot. Now, on the defensive side, I can put linebackers Jalen Carlisle and Austin Ajike in the good category. I mean, they tied for the team lead in tackles with 6, and Ajike added a tackle for loss and a pass deflection. Both of these guys have looked strong all camp, and with Bryce Betcher also playing well, the Colts linebacker room is actually starting to look deeper than originally expected. I mean, they're still lacking a star, but Lou Anarumo's rotation and playing these guys to their strengths looks like it might be the best plan of attack to start the season. You'll see a lot of Carlisle on passing downs as he's the best linebacker in coverage, but you're going to see all 5 of the Colts linebackers play meaningful snaps against the Ravens, and any combination of the 5 could be out there as starters at this point. Finally, you got to put Spencer Schrader into the good category as well. I mean, after getting easily outkicked by Blake Grupe all throughout training camp, Schrader now finds himself 4 for 4 in game action, including a 61 and a 53-yarder, while Grupe's 0 for 2, including an inexcusable miss from 36 on Saturday. Now, being a great practice kicker is one thing, but you've got to do it in the games. And we know Grupe can, and I'm not going to take too much from 2 preseason games, but man, he had a chance to leave zero doubt as to who the Colts should go with, and now there's immense doubt. Shane Steichen acknowledged that both of these guys are starting kickers in the NFL and that they have a difficult decision on their hands. It might come down to next Saturday against the Lions when both guys are sure to get one last chance to hit a big in-game kick. But who do you give the edge to right now in the kicking battle? And what other good things did you take away from the game on Saturday, if anything? I know there wasn't a lot. Let me know in the comments. All right, and before we get to the bad and the ugly from Saturday, and there's a lot, I got to tell you guys about this product called Mars Men. I'm going to make it quick, but this is how I stay on the air, so bear with me. Now, my wife loves a dad bod. Your wife probably loves a dad bod, but what do you do when your dad bod is becoming more granddad bod? I mean, we're not in our 20s anymore. Well, some of you probably are, but it's going to happen to you too. We can work out, we can eat better, but it just doesn't go away. And as we get older, our bodies start making more fat and losing muscle faster. And the reason for this is testosterone. Most men's testosterone levels start dropping in their 30s. And at that point, it just becomes a vicious cycle of more fat, testosterone turning into estrogen, more fat, rinse, repeat. You get the idea. But that's why there's Mars Men. It's a natural supplement that's designed to support healthy testosterone levels, which can help your body burn fat more efficiently and build lean muscle. No weird stimulants, no synthetic hormones, just real natural ingredients that support healthy T levels, weight management, and exercise performance. And it's made in the USA, third-party tested, and it's available at GNC nationwide, so you know it's legit. If you want more energy, better focus, and easier weight loss, you've got to give Mars Men a try. There's also a 90-day money-back guarantee, so what do you have to lose? For a limited time, viewers of Colts Latest get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support this show. Tell them that Colts Latest and Fan Arch sent you. All right, back to football. Not that we want to really talk about the bad and the ugly, but it's got to be done, so we're going to start with the bad, and we got to start with the quarterback play. I mean, Riley Leonard just looked timid again. He made several bad throws, short-hopping his receivers. Anthony Richardson looked fine. Sorry, Al, wherever you are. I mean, he didn't look terrible, and he still looked better than Leonard did, but he didn't do anything to inspire any confidence that he can successfully fill in for Daniel Jones and keep this team afloat should the need arise. Now, I will grant you that the poor quarterback play was also a direct result of the offensive line play, which I'm going to get to in the next segment, but 10 for 23 for 79 yards combined is not going to get it done. Now, I will say that Riley Leonard looked better than he did in Game 1, and Anthony Richardson looked worse than he did in Game 1, but Richardson still looked better than Leonard on Saturday. That's how big the gap was between them after the New England game. So I still think Richardson has the edge for the QB2 role because Riley Leonard just doesn't look like an NFL quarterback right now. But we've got one more game for these two to show what they can do, and we'll find out who's going to be the starter for the game against the Lions. I'm expecting Richardson in the first half and Leonard in the second half, just like the Patriots game. But for the bad category, on the defensive side of the ball, I got to go with Jalen Tuamalo. I mean, if you look at the stat sheet, you might think Tuamalo sat Saturday's game out. 26 different players recorded at least one tackle, and JT was not one of them. Now, this came after he recorded one tackle against the Patriots. And it's not like he's not out there. He started both games and played considerable snaps. He's just nowhere to be found. And for a guy who was not too long ago projected to be a starter, it's not what you want to see. And we've talked about it. This defensive line group is deep. At least one, if not two players who we once had penciled in for a roster spot are going to miss the cut. Rookies George Gums and Caden Curry are looking good, and I think they're both in line for a spot. Michael Clemens made a really nice play against the Falcons. We can also now add Tim Smith to the list after he's had a strong camp and had 5 tackles on Saturday. Now, Tuamalo had better be careful, or he may go from presumable starter to cut victim in a matter of weeks. And I already talked about it, but I'm going to put Blake Groupie in the bad category because he's doing himself zero favors by missing short kicks while Spencer Schrader has had ice in his veins so far. And that's going to bring us to the ugly. And if you watched the game, you know there was plenty of it. But if we're going to talk ugly, we got to start with the offensive line. I mean, I put the Colts quarterbacks in the bad category because honestly, they were both bad. But the offensive line gave them no chance to really succeed. Snapping was still an issue, penalties were an issue, and they just gave the offense zero time for plays to develop. mean, the Colts tried screen passes to get Deion Burks the ball in space, which I love to see, but he was swallowed up the moment he caught it. And I know that's not purely on the offensive line, but they didn't help. But Saturday just reiterated what we already know. Behind a pretty strong starting five, this offensive line has zero depth. While Jalen Travis might end up being an upgrade over Braden Smith, the Colts did nothing to address the loss of depth from Smith going to Houston, and it's beginning to show. They're also still hoping that Dalton Tucker can figure out the center position, but on Saturday they gave undrafted free agent Josh Kreutz the first chance. Kreutz committed a big illegal hands to the face penalty on a play where Leonard converted a 3rd and long to Deion Burks. Then a drive later, he followed that up with a botched snap. So while the Colts were sure that between Tucker, Kreutz, and fellow undrafted free agent Geno Vandemark, they'd be able to find their backup center, but the search continues with just a week until cutdown day. On the defensive side of the ball, the ugly has to go to Mekhi Blackmon, and really the secondary after the starters in general. I mean, behind the top 4 corners and the top 4 safeties, the depth is looking really shaky. Now you hope that you don't need to go much deeper than the top 4 corners and the top 4 safeties too often. But where the Colts once thought they could count on guys like Blackmon, Jonathan Edwards, and Wanye Thomas to provide solid depth, these guys have not looked the part thus far in camp or during game action, particularly Blackmon. I mean, he's just getting consistently targeted by the opposing quarterback, either giving up the catch or having to commit pass interference to prevent it nearly every time. Now, this happened during the Patriots game, and the Falcons clearly watched the tape because they came out with the exact same game plan. He gave up receptions on the first 2 Falcons drives, then he committed 2 pass interference penalties on the 3rd drive before giving up multiple receptions on the 5th drive. Now, with Jalen Jones making a few plays in the second half, I'd have to think he's starting to catch Blackmon on the depth chart. Right now, I'd put Jones and Edwards behind the top 4, and I think Rob Carter Jr. might even be ahead of Blackmon for me week 1 when the Colts are going to need an extra body while Cam Taylor-Britt serves a 1-game suspension. So give me your good, your bad, and your ugly from Saturday's game. And did anyone's performance in the game change your mind on their roster situation, either good or bad? Anybody you had on the roster now you think might be off, and anybody you had off that you think might be on after Saturday's game? Let me know in the comments. Before I get to your comments from the weekend, I got to give you my Kalshi pick of the week. Each week, I'm going to be giving you a different bet that I like for either the season or the upcoming game. Guys, if you haven't placed a wager on Kalshi before, you're missing out. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house, which is why we can do it here in California and other states that do not have legal sports gambling. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. If you download the Kalshi app and use code FANARCHFOOTBALL, you get a free $10 when you trade $10. Kalshi, trade on anything. All right, so for my pick of the week, I'm going to look at a bit of a long shot. Daniel Jones is looking good, y'all. And he was looking good last year before he got hurt. Like, historically good. We all know this. The question is, can he get back to that level of play? Well, you know that I think he can. And if he plays at the level he played for 10 games last year, and he leads the Colts to the playoffs or even better, the division, then I think he's got a chance to win Comeback Player of the Year. Now, Daniel Jones winning Comeback Player of the Year is currently trading at 8%, meaning a $100 trade pays out $1,341.25 if he wins. And that's my pick of the week. Daniel Jones to win Comeback Player of the Year. And remember, because you can trade out of your position at any time, if he gets off to a hot start and that jumps from like 8% to 15%, you can just trade out right there and boom, you make money. He doesn't even have to win. So get on Kalshi, bet on Daniel Jones to win Comeback Player of the Year this season for a $1,341.25 payout on a $100 wager. Remember, these predictions are for entertainment purposes only. Please gamble responsibly. And before I let you go, let's get to your comments from the weekend. Jeffrey Cragen had the same camp winners and losers as I did, except for Jalen Carlies. And he's really come on strong lately. I mean, it's great to see because just a few weeks ago, we were thinking it was Akeem Davis-Gaither, CJ Allen, and 3 question marks. But with Carlisle, Ajake, and Betcher all playing really well, this linebacker rotation could be the best thing that's happened to this defense. Now it's up to Lou Anarumo to expertly deploy the rotation to maximize the skill set of each player, and it's going to be fun to watch. Dennis Douglas wishes the Colts still had Danny Pinter to handle backup center duties, and I bet Danny Pinter wishes he was still with the Colts too because he tore his patellar tendon last week, ending his season before he was set to be the Ravens starting center, replacing free agent departee Tyler Linderbaum. So now the Colts' week 1 opponent is also looking for a center, but they're looking for a starter. Forrest Halliburton gave his camp awards, and I won't get into all of them, but I do agree with you on Blackman and Edwards getting the L. Now, Forrest, do you think Jalen Jones has passed them both on the depth chart? What about Rob Carter Jr.? Where do you see kind of 5 through 8 lining up in the cornerback room right now? Now, I'm personally not sure why the coaching staff seems to be so down on Jalen Jones. I think he's a playmaker, especially as a depth piece. Now, you also nailed the problem with the backup offensive line. I mean, you said they were starting to show cracks before Saturday's game even happened. Well, those cracks have turned into canyons, and it's truly an area of concern now. Frank Benji also thinks the Colts should have kept Pinter and Mark Glowinski. Pinter, maybe, but Glowinski's 34 years old and hasn't played since 2024. But yeah, Danny Pinter is the exact kind of player they need right now, and he's the kind that I think they thought they had in Dalton Tucker, but he's proving he just can't do it. He just can't get the center roll down, at least not yet. Hopefully it won't matter, but I'll feel a lot better if the Colts can have a competent snapper at backup center. Kane Wallace says that Daniel Jones should still sit out week 1, and Kane, I think we are way past that. I mean, if he was showing any signs of rust or hangover from the injury, then I might agree with you, but with every single account that he looks absolutely 100% and you'd never even know that he was injured, he's got to be out there. I mean, he's not going to be any healthier week 2 than he is week 1. This team needs to get off to a hot start. They can't be putting Anthony Richardson out there for the opener. I mean, I get what you're saying, but they paid Jones $88 million for a reason, and that's to be out there week 1. Peacekeeper wants to know, at least I think he wants to know, how I'm a Colts fan as a Cali guy. Well, I lived in Indy, Carmel to be exact, from 1987 to 1996 are my formative years of sports viewing. Been a diehard Colts and Pacers fan ever since, never wavering as I moved to Chicago, then Wisconsin for college, then finally moving out to the Bay Area in 2002. My parents became Bears fans. My wife is a massive 49ers fan, but I will always be a Colts fan. The only time I've ever even kind of cheered for another team was the Seahawks when they had Russell Wilson as a Badger alum. But even then, it was never a competition with the Colts. Appreciate the comment, Peacekeeper. Hopefully that answers your question. Deadman asked me, albeit probably a little tongue-in-cheek, if the glass is half full or half empty. Now, since you all know me, you know that I answered nearly to the brim. Now, it might be a tiny bit less full after Saturday's game, but we are still camp optimism over here. Tommy Larson thinks that Giddens is absolutely making the 53-man and that he's RB2, and it isn't even close. I gotta disagree with you on that one, Tommy. Now, while I do think he still has the slight edge, like I said, for RB3 due to his experience over Bentley and Castle, Seth McGowan's strong play in running, receiving, and blocking, combined with Giddens' injury, has given him the edge for RB2 right now. I mean, maybe Giddens comes back this week and gets some good reps against the Lions, but until that happens, McGowan's past him. And then to CA and Eric Lee, yeah, it was a pretty bad showing on Saturday, but it also means very little. We knew the Colts' backup offensive line was garbage. We knew that after the top 4 cornerbacks, the depth was lacking. Now, I would have liked to see better performances from the QBs, but I think with the starting offensive line, those performances probably would have been much better. So I'm not going to worry about it too much, but we're going to see more from the starters against Detroit. So if we have another performance like that, I may start to worry just a little bit. All right. That's going to do it for today. Have a great Monday, everyone. The team is treating this week like a regular season game week, so they'll be practicing Tuesday through Thursday. Until then, check out fanarch.com, download Kalshi, and use code FANARCHFOOTBALL for a free $10. Make sure you check out mengotomars.com. Tell them FanArch sent you. Like my videos. Subscribe to the Colts Latest channel. The Colts are 0-1-1, and let's go Colts.